Hey everybody, today we're going to be going over lesson 4, variables and exponents. Our learning objectives for today are: given an exponential expression that involves variables, the students will be able to evaluate and simplify given expressions. So, before we begin today's lesson, again, make sure you have today's notes page printed off and you've completed lesson 3's quiz. So if you haven't done either of those things, do it now and then be ready for today's lesson. This is going to be very similar to what we've been doing the past 3 lessons, except now we're going to be throwing everybody's favorites in there, some variables. And you all know from the past that a variable is just a letter that can represent some number. So looking at these variables, it says write the following in exponential notation. We know exponential notation is just simplifying them with exponents. Today we are going to just take our numbers. It's going to be a little different from the last 3 lessons. Instead of going 2 squared times 3, we're actually going to multiply these out. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So we're going to put that in front. It's going to be called our coefficient. And then we're going to see how many A's we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 A's. So that simplified in exponential notation is 12a to the 4th power. Okay, we're not going to deal with doing this anymore. We're just going to actually solve it out and tell me how many a to the 4ths we have. So the next one, let's first look at our numbers. We have a 6 and a 7, so 6 times 7 is 42. And now, in most math, people go alphabetical, so you go, okay, how many c's do I have? I have 3, so c to the 3rd times, I have 2 d's, so d squared. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to just try and solve these next 2, so whenever you're ready, pause it, try those next 2 on your own, and then we'll come back together and see if you got the right answer. Okay, let's first look at the numbers. 2 times 4 times 6, so 2 times 4 is 8, and then 8 times 6 is 48. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 G's. So that's G to the 5th, and we have 2 H's. The last one, systematically, let's look at it. A 2, a 7, and a 7. 7 times 7 is 49. 49 times 2 is 98. Let's see how many J's I have in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So J to the 4th power. I have 2 K's and 2 T's. So my answer for simplifying this, or writing in exponential notation, would be 98 J to the 4th, K to the 2nd, T to the 2nd. And I've gotten rid of all the terms, so I'm done. Let's flip it over and just look at some other examples. B to the 3rd times B to the 5th. This first example, I'm going to actually have you expand it out. So B to the 3rd is 3 B's. B to the 5th is 5 more B's. So here was 3 of them. Here was 5 of them. If I gave you this and asked you to write it in exponential notation, you'd realize I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 b's, so that would be b to the 8th. So what you need to learn from this example, and which will help you out in the future, is all you have to do is, if you have the same base, you just add your exponents together. 3 plus 5 is 8, which is where we got our 8. So C and C, those are the same base units. So I go 7 plus 5, which is 12. When you have different ones, you have to treat them as individual. So I have 6 b's and I have 5 b's. If I added those together, I have 11 b's. Then I look at my c's. I have 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 7 is 15. So this simplified is b11, c15, or b to the 11th and c to the 15th power. So last one, I just want you to try these 4 on your own, and then we'll come back in, see if you got the right answers. So take a couple minutes, solve those. When you're ready, unpause the video. So go ahead. Okay, let's just go through here. I have only one with E, so I go E to the 2nd. Look at the next letter in the alphabet, F. It's the only F I have, so that doesn't change at all. But now I must combine all of my G's. So 7 plus 5 is 12, plus 6 is 18. Alright, I have A, B, and C, so I'm going to have some A's here, I'm going to have some B's here, I'm going to have some C's here. Now let's look at the top numbers, or your exponents. So a to the 3rd power, a to the 3rd power. If I have 3 and I have 3, then I have 6, because I just have to add them together. I have 4 and 6 B's, so I add those together, I have 10 of them. And squared now. Okay, these next two might have been a little confusing because we threw some numbers in here too. You just take those two numbers, multiply them. 3 times 4 is 12. Then I have some V's and I have some W's I got to figure out. Well, I have 2 V's here. Then I have 5 V's here, so 5 plus 2 is 7. And 3 plus 2 for my W's is 5, so I should have 12V to the 7th power, W to the 5th power. And the last one, I have a 3 and a 2 here for my numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. I have a C and a G, so I'm going to just write those out first. Now I have 5 C's here. I have 2 C's here. So that's 7 of them. There is a G here, so I have 1. So I have 7 plus 5 is 12, plus another one is 13. So that's it for today's lesson. It's just throwing in variables. It's not much different. We're just basically combining their exponents together and keeping the same base. You can only add them together if they have the same base number. Just one of the small rules we got to remember. So to finish off with today's lesson, I want you to open up Lesson 4's homework. When you're completed with it, check your work to make sure you understand it. If you have any questions, again, send me a message or write on today's blog, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. When you think you're prepared, take Lesson 4's quiz. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a review and the final test covering everything that we've learned this week.